And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. And if you don't have Fight Now on your sports channel lineup, you need to call your local television provider and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. It's that simple, man. Pick up the phone and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. For all the information about the channel, you can find it on their website, www.fightnow.com. And speaking of now, joining us, she's the bigwig, the producer, the writer, everything. We've been talking about this movie that's coming out, The Wilderness. It's about a British Olympian that took place 100 years ago. To tell us all about the project, Alexandra Boyd joins us. Good morning, Alexandra. I'm sorry. Alexandra. I don't know why I said Alexia. Good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I've been enjoying watching the stuff that you have on the Kickstart program. We put the link up on our website. But for all the viewers and listeners out there, tell us about the project, a little history, and where we got to go from here.
Well, as I'm sure most of your listeners know, that London had the Olympics last summer, and it was a huge triumph for the whole country, and especially the city. And prior to that, my producing partner was doing some work for the London Olympic Committee, and he found this story about Harry Mallin, who in 1920 and 1924 won gold medals boxing. And he trained at a boys' club called the Eton Manor Boys' Club, which was started by an old Etonian. I don't know if you know, Eton is a very prestigious school here, and this man came from a very privileged, educated background, but he made his life's work this boys' club in the East End, which is a very deprived area, and out of it came Harry Mallin. So we found this story, and we thought this story fitted in perfectly as a prequel to the Olympics, because every city, when they host the Olympics, they want to create some sort of legacy through sport for young people. And what it seemed nobody knew was that somebody had done that 100 years ago, right where the Olympic Park is. So we have developed the original story, the true story of Harry Mallin and Arthur Villiers, and I have written the screenplay and created, you know, an epic drama that starts in 1912, takes the boys through the First World War, the effect that has on them when they come back and begin again their training to be champions, and it's one of those stories we love, that triumph over adversity. You know, every boxing movie has it. You know, Rocky, the fighter. You know, there's always something that guy, that boxer, that individual is fighting against, and sometimes it's just himself. You know, and it all plays out in the story.
Well, Alexandria, you and I have talked in the past, and you're actually battling some fights about this film yourself. And one of the things you tried to do was try and get some support and everything. And you and I have talked, and you know, it's weird because you know, obviously I know a little more about the movie than some of my viewers and listeners, and I know that there's a lot of other things intertwined in it, not just boxing. There's a little piece of World War I in there. There's a love story in there. There's so many things that should entice people to go out and see it, not just boxing fans. But some of the things that I know that you're running into is the lack of support from the boxing community. Tell us about the stumbling blocks that you're dealing with there.
Well, you know, the new way to communicate to the world now, and it's very much at everybody's fingertips, is Twitter and Facebook. And we have met a lot of professional boxers, a lot of amateur boxers, a lot of boxing fans. And I think I worked out for myself today is that every one of those boxing fans or boxers will go and see a boxing film, but if they were invited to spend the same cost of a ticket to invest in a development project for a film such as mine, it's a different mindset for some reason. And it's not like we're asking, it's a sponsored charity run. I have some amazing rewards, you know, whether it's a T-shirt from the film, that's a smaller reward, or whether it's being invited to a premiere of the short film I'm going to make at BAFTA here in London, or a signed storyboard from the film, or an original DVD signed by myself. There are lots of ways we can say thank you, and in these other crowdfunding campaigns, they have succeeded because thousands of people have donated a small amount, a tenner or 20 quid or dollars in the case of the American companies, American projects. And for some reason, even though I have connected to probably tens of thousands of boxing fans, most of the people that are supporting us are people who already know us. So we're sort of struggling a little bit with what that crossover is, what that tipping point is to get people to get involved. Because even if you're in the United States and you're listening to my voice, 18 months from now when the movie comes out, you go, I gave them a tenner. I remember her talking about that on that boxing show, you know. But it's been an interesting journey. But we've had a lot of attention. I wouldn't have met you, Billy. Hey, there's a positive, right?
Hey, man, I've been telling the viewers and listeners, you got to check this chick out. I can't wait to meet her. I want to take her to lunch, you know. So
what's she doing directing a boxing film? What does she know about boxing? Yeah, I know. You want to find out. It's the inquiring minds.
Well, the thing is that I think we need as much stuff about boxing as possible, and I like the storyline that you have, and I honestly think it's a home run. But like I've told you in the past, the boxing fan is a strange bunch because it's a niche within a niche. You have life, then you have sports, then you have boxing within sports. And when I put my fan hat on, the boxing fan is the most taken advantage of fan there is. They have to pay, like at least here in the States, we have to pay to watch the good fights. I mean,
yes.
It's so anytime you're asking for money, people immediately put their blinders on. But you have such a great cause here, and I've been pointing that out over the last several weeks about if they, click the banner and the link to the Kickstart program that we have on our website, that indeed they could even get their name in the credits, right? Isn't it something that is as
right.
powerful as that?
And it is, and because once you've joined the Wilderness family, so to speak, we will bring you along on that journey. We will keep your email, we will keep your contact details, and you'll get newsletters, email newsletters with updates. Right now we're in pre-production. Now we just cast such and such an actor. Now we're shooting in the trenches. Now we're shooting the 1924 Paris Olympics. And you'll sort of get a one-on-one backstory about how a feature film is put together. And if you're passionate about boxing, you add into the mix, and it's a boxing feature film. I just think that's a fun thing to be part of. But maybe that's just me because it's my thing.
No. Hey, man, I've been interested in that in a long time. Now, are you a boxing fan? Are you a fan of the sport, or are you a temporary fan for this project?
I did not come to this project as a boxing fan, but I can say now that I have spoken to and walked a few steps in the path of a boxer by talking to them and learning to box myself, I might add. I'm a method director. I want to know what my actors are going through. It is the most extraordinary sport. It's everything from the controlled violence to the mindset of a boxer before he goes into the ring, to the ongoing pressure and focus on him on the lead up to a fight. I was at a press conference this morning for some professional fights that are happening on Saturday here at Wembley in London. And these guys, they're all sitting up there, cameras on them, answering questions from journalists. But really, they want to be in the gym training because the guy they sat next to, they have to fight on Saturday. And there's all this pressure, especially on these young Olympians, on these professional boxers, especially if they show any level of ability and championship. Once they start becoming champions, the whole dynamic changes. And I think it's very similar to actors. I've started my career, I was 30 years an actress in my industry, and I see it with my quote-unquote famous actor friends, the pressure on them to continue to talk about what they do, but at the same time have to be really good at what they do and really focused on it. And I see the challenges are very similar. So I think that's what keeps me drawn to boxing, as opposed to your question, which is, are you a boxing fan? And I will certainly continue to be a boxing fan now. I mean, I've been indoctrinated.
Well, that's good. We need all the fans we can get. Now, as far as the movie goes, and your quest to get some public funding from the Kickstarter program, which is where the link is on our website. Tell me, where's the project going to go from now? I know this program is almost up. And,
yes.
I mean, was it contingent upon, what was getting a good support, a big amount of support from this program contingent upon whether the project was going to go through, or do you have a plan B? I mean, are we going to see this movie no matter what?
Yes, we will certainly make the feature film no matter what. And that's a feature film that needs millions of dollars to start and complete. So the Kickstarter was a journey into crowdfunding to see a little bit what that was about from a marketing point of view. And we created, or I wrote this short film about the boxer in the ring and on the wilderness, as part of what I would create with the Kickstarter money. And we would that would have served as a screen test, which we will do anyway in the course of making the big film. But what has been, many projects, many exercises start off as one thing and they become greater than the sum of their parts. And as I said, it has definitely raised awareness for the film. We're about to, in the filmmaking world, we're about to go to the Cannes Film Festival, which is a big market where people bring their projects to find funding and distribution and sales. So that's the next thing on our calendar in May. And then, my producing partner, John Pettigrew, and I, we just keep doing what we've been doing for the last 2 years, which is developing the project, meeting creatives, meeting with other producers, meeting with money people, meeting with boxers. It's an ongoing sort of, I like to call it a gestation period. None of these projects come out fully formed, so they're always growing in a very organic way. And I see it as a marathon instead of a sprint. I've just got to make sure I can make it through the wall that we hit. I can keep going until we start. First day of principal photography. That's what I've got my eye on. That's my focus. That's the day I'll be in the ring, literally. Well, in the ring with my actors, and in the ring with the money that we'll have to make the feature film.
Well, it sounds like you have a great attitude towards it, and it's refreshing. And my question: if everything goes well, when could we expect this film to hit the screens? I mean, is it a one-part thing? Are you going to do the short one first and then come back with the full length, or what's the time frame?
The time frame we would like to release globally, all over the world, on Remembrance Day 2014. So that's 11/11/2014, which is Veterans Day in the United States. It's Remembrance Day here in Europe, because we have such a big chunk of the film is about war and recovery from war. We thought that November the 11th would be an appropriate day. Next year here in the UK. In the UK, anyway, we're having a whole year of remembrance because it's the 100-year anniversary of the beginning of the First World War. So it sounds a little bit somber, but it will also be part of our dedication, or our remembrance, if you like, of heroes that have been lost.
Boxing has a parallel with the world wars and time of depression, really, because during those times, that's when boxing really thrived. So it's actually it is a good parallel for you to go on. And I tell you, I'm so excited, chatting with you right now. It seems like you're sitting right next to me. You're in London, right?
I'm sitting in southeast London on my Skype on my computer, and isn't that just a marvelous way? We don't even have to rely on British Telecom, who to keep us connected. We can talk like this. It's great. Yeah.
Well, if you've ever listened to my show, I get people complaining that I have Progresso soup cans as a phone system. So this is This is great. But I'm really looking forward to your project, and I really hope that you keep us in the loop. I know that this first leg was the Kickstart program, but as soon as you get to the next point, please keep me posted. I'd love to support it in any way I can.
Absolutely.
I love this kind of stuff.
And I'd love to come back and talk again about the progress we make as we go along, because this is just the first episode of a series.
Well, I hope to have you back soon, and I hope we can help in any small way. I tell you, because this means a lot, not only to the sport, but to all the fans, because I like the educational part. I know it's based on a true story, and that's really what a lot of our show is about. It's the historical aspect of the sport of boxing, and your project fits right in.
Well, thank you very much, Billy.
Well, listen, I look forward to hearing an update, and I look forward to having you back on the show.
I look forward to it too. Thank you.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's Alexandra Boyd, and she's in charge of this whole project, the Wilderness Project. So check it out. It's still up on the website, www.BillyCBoxing.com. And I'll tell you what, she's gorgeous. I hope to meet her someday. I want to take her to lunch. Anyway, I got to take a break. We'll be right back.